Welcome back, everybody, to the Get Back Guys podcast. I've returned. Miami Heat playing an hour. Opening night was yesterday. Well, I guess this will be posted tomorrow on Christmas Eve. So opening night was 2 days ago. Heat play Wednesday. Pretty pumped. Excited to be here. Nick is not here. He is actually traveling to be with me because we are brothers. That's how that works for Christmas. Gonna make our own little bubble. Kyle. With me though this week, so you're just trading the brothers this week, huh? How's that feel?
It's not too bad, honestly. Like having you both at the same time can be, a bit much. So having you in doses one at a time.
Wow, it's my show. I listened to you and Nick without me for the first time, and I might need to get you back and get you fired.
Get back, guys, plural, 3 guys.
Need to bring in other people who respect me and the Philadelphia Eagles a little bit more. I think I need that in my life. But let's start with the NBA real quick. NBA opening night, like the Lakers and Clippers played, a couple other teams. We saw the Nets. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention. I saw Nick and a couple of our buddies kind of chatting about it in our chat we all have together. And like the Lakers lost, Nets looked pretty good. It was good seeing KD back, KD and Kyrie really for the first time. That was nice. The Warriors without Clay, I mean, that team, they got a lot to figure out. And the Lakers lost to the Clippers, which Nick and a couple of our friends were kind of poking fun at each other for. I don't think that's anything to worry about. It's opening day. No. I don't think the players give a crap about this game. No. Really. I think they do want to win, but they're very okay not.
Paul George looked good.
Looked good.
Yeah.
We just actually got breaking news. The Thunder and Rockets game is postponed. Which was supposed to be tonight. It looks like 3 Rockets have tested positive, as well as James Harden ruled unavailable, so they have postponed it.
Well, when you're partying at strip clubs.
Allegedly. He says it wasn't him. But
maybe.
Anyway, let's talk about that. You said you had some news about that. You want to touch on the James Harden stuff, give a little breakdown?
Yeah, so there was an article that came out kind of talking about some drama that was circling with Harden and the Rockets, and it did touch on why Westbrook was kind of asking for a trade out of the Rockets to begin with. Apparently, when it comes to James Harden, he kind of has started a culture within the Rockets to where it's very casual, it's very laid back. Apparently, some things that he would do would be to have the travel schedule be based on the cities they wanted to party at, and things such as like dictating the practice schedules, and maybe he would want them at certain times, and even still he would show up late, which Westbrook wasn't really a fan of, because obviously his style of playing basketball is different than Harden's. So who knows how much of this is true, but honestly I wouldn't be too shocked if it's all pretty true. Harden is like a really great basketball player, obviously, but I think there's just some signs when it comes to him to where he has other interests outside of basketball, and basketball isn't necessarily the priority. What do you think about it, though?
I'm just curious, if this is something that's been going on. Most guys in the NBA, especially non-superstars, tend to be very hard workers. So why has this not come out sooner? Why is it Westbrook that's the one kind of saying this is going on? Instead of guys like a Clint Capella and such that have been there for a while or had been there, or a couple of those other guys, Chris Paul at times. Like, why has this not come out yet? If it is slightly true, I wonder if that's why the Heat announced that they were not, or that news broke that the Heat had stopped talking to Harden, because they have the opposite, if that is true, of that culture. They are grinders. So it just makes me curious if it's true. I guess that makes sense. And if you're James Harden, he's not good enough by himself to win a championship. As long as LeBron is in there, the closest he got was with that Thunder team. I mean, against the Heat back in the day in like 2012. So if that's the world he wants to live in, then he's gonna die on that island without a ring and just make money, which I guess that's what you want. But if that is true, I don't know if it's true, but if it is, good on Westbrook for saying, no, I'd rather get out of here and go anywhere else that's not, at least is trying to win a championship. But yeah, that's about all my thoughts on it. Glad the Heat are not taking him if it is true.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
I think the Heat announcing that they stopped trade talks with the Rockets for him, I think that came after this report came out, maybe like a day or two after. So I wonder if either their investigations were that they found stuff that was pretty accurate with what those reports were saying, or if they just saw those reports and decide, you know what, we're still pretty good with this team anyway. We don't think we need Harden, and maybe we'll go look for another superstar.
Yeah, he's not the one
other
for
guy.
us. All right. Well, why don't we just transition, because that's pretty much it for the NBA. Hope the Heat win tonight. Kyle with the news. Didn't sing it last week, and a little upset. You guys need me apparently. So Kyle, what is some of our biggest, some more news, probably more NFL centric? Give you my
definitely
thoughts.
more NFL centric. First off, Louis Riddick. I think people recently know him from being in the booth for ESPN on Monday Night Football. He is now being interviewed for the GM position for the Detroit Lions, Houston Texans, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was a football player, obviously, in the beginning of his career in the early 2000s, but after that, he was also a scout for the Washington TBDs, as they are called currently, and for the Philadelphia Eagles before becoming a booth and analyst guy for ESPN. So I don't think that the hiring would be too bad. I'm very curious to see how it will work. We've seen guys like John Lynch who, were football players at one point and then did stuff in the booth, go on to become, really great GM. So maybe Louis Riddick could do that same thing when it comes to either one of these teams, who I think would be more than happy to have a guy like him.
Seen a guy like Mike Mayock too, who was always an analyst kind of guy to come on over, and good for him. I actually don't love him in the Monday Night Football booth. I do not love those guys. I like them for college football. I do not really love them. I think they're just okay. I don't think ESPN has taken a step up like they wish they had in the booth, but he is smart. I think he is the best, especially at the knowledge. So if he's getting a shot, I know people really respect him. He's a good player, so I'm all for it. Good for them. Players know players. So if he can come in and be a GM and really help out with whoever they hire as a new coach, and he might get a lot of say in who the new coach is. So it might be time to get a new regime in. And does he move off of Matt Stafford is kind of going to be the big thing as him as a GM if he gets that job with Detroit. But
sure,
good for him. What else you got?
Well, I was just going to add on with you about the Riddick stuff. That again, I don't know if he would be the right hire or not, but I think this could be a good hire for any one of these teams. Not just for, restarting their franchises, but also just for, having a GM at the high position who also understands players really well. Like, he's not just business minded, but he understands the business side plus understands the player side of the sport. So that could also be a really good reason why you get a guy such as him. But then for the next bit of news, we'll talk more about GMs, because the Panthers fired their GM, Marty Herney. From the sounds of it, the Panthers are wanting a guy who's more data driven, is more into the analytics of the sport, such as how Matt Rule is. And they just want a GM
Howie
coach.
Roseman.
Yeah, they just want a GM coach to where they just, are able to work a bit better together, that they both understand the sport the same way. Honestly, this firing was kind of a bit of a surprise to me. I mean, his last draft, he did a pretty good job. He got guys like Brian Burns and Jeremy Chin, who are, some rookies or second-year guys who are starting to really emerge, and to see them make this switch, I mean, it's a bit surprising, but maybe this is the direction they need to go, and maybe they can still get those, guys like Burns and Chin on the team still. So what about you? Does this make you think anything different about the Panthers? Or
I think even the Panthers were surprised that they were more of an average team than a bad team. And I think they want a guy who will fit more with their new head coach, that they think could really pop up so they can get better, because they got a good primed up quarterback. They got a great running back if he can ever get healthy, some good receivers down there. So I think this is just a move to say, hey, this guy's not the guy to push us. And it's just the opposite now with what we were just saying a minute ago with Riddick, where now Matt Rule gets say, and maybe might have an idea of who a good GM to bring in that might complement him very well. So good for them. Like the Panthers, like the players they got down there. So Rasul Douglas, former Eagles, down there playing at cornerback. But yeah. And what else you got in the news?
The final bit that I got is your boy Carson Wentz. There's been.
Right. Let's just transition into our teams then, and I'll because I got a lot to say. You and Nick poking fun at me last week.
No.
So this I retweeted this. Follow me at Twitter at Movie Meow. Because I'm such pro Wentz does not mean I am anti Jalen Hurts. The kid's balling, and he's balling really great. And I love that. I'm always at the end of the day going to root for a dub. That's what I want. I don't really care how it gets there. I do feel bad for Wentz. I always have. I will if we move off of him. I do think, I hope that he goes on to have a lot of success and to get back to where he is. If he stays and is our starter, I hope next year we get back to that. This season was not what I thought it would be at all. The report came out that his agent had said, look, if I'm going to be the backup in 2021, I would like a trade. And the media freaked out. You're an idiot if you freaked out. You're an idiot. You're an idiot who doesn't understand sports or people. Like, what is wrong with you? Of course, Carson Wentz in year 6 probably doesn't want to be the backup again, or not really again, but be officially the backup after getting a big contract. Why would he want to stay? And people were starting to attack his character as a leader. He has never done anything to make him not a leader. I mean, literally, if you watch the game against the Cardinals, he's out there. There's images and videos of him too. He's sitting next to Hurts. He's going over stuff on the tablet. He's coming up. He's praising him. Wentz is a true, wholesome, kind individual. And as much as he is a competitor and he wants to win, he understands his play this year. He understands what happened. He understands that Hurts is balling. And it probably is true. It looks like, I believe it was Adam Schefter who originally broke the news. He tweeted again today and said, look, I didn't actually talk to anybody, kind of just coming out here, that this is just kind of all speculating by myself. And I think it's just true. I think if you're an idiot, if you don't think that is true, like it shouldn't have to be said. It's obvious. If Carson does not want to sit and make $80 million to do nothing. He's just a competitor. He wants to compete. He wants to play. So if they are going to go with Hurts long-term, move off of me. Why wouldn't you? Like, seriously, it makes no sense that people reacted the way they did online. His character is great. So that's my thought kind of just on the individual news piece there. Kyle, what is your thought just on the news with Wentz saying, hey, trade me if I'm going to be the backup in 2021? And I'm going to pull up the tweet too while you're talking, so I know exactly what Schefter said, but go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm confused about with Schefter, because like you were saying, like initially they were saying that a scout or his agent or someone's agent was saying that Wentz is wanting this situation to where if he is becoming the backup there in Philly, then move off of him and have him go somewhere else so that way he can be a starter. But then to go back and say like that wasn't true, I misspoke or whatever, days, almost a week after doing that, I think that's a bit ridiculous on Schefter's part. Like, you're one of the best guys when it comes to, breaking the news in the NFL like this. Like, I think you should do a much better job than what you displayed here, unless if I'm missing something. But...
So what, I got it right here. So what Schefter said today on the radio, he was on a radio show. He said he didn't talk to Carson Wentz or his agent. He said Wentz wants to play, and if Wentz is going to be the backup, then he may want to be traded. Somehow people took that and twisted it into he's a selfish teammate leaking stories on game day. And so he just on the radio is clarifying what he was saying here. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that. I don't think he's really coming back on his words. It's pretty much exactly what he's saying. Even right now, I'm looking on Twitter, there's one of the videos and it just says in quotes, Carson Wentz is a selfish guy. And it's just like 50 seconds of him walking up, giving fist bumps, high fives, talking to Jalen, hugging Jalen. Yeah. So all of that is not true. Carson Wentz is not a selfish guy. But anything you wanted to add still?
Then in that case, like, I'm not totally mad about Schefter and, as I was like 30 seconds ago, but it just shows it just shows like the media is just a cruel, dark place, and it sucks, and anything can be twisted into anything. But I don't think it's far off from the truth. I'm sure, as great of a teammate as Wentz sounds, like he is supporting Jalen Hurts. I was watching that game too because I was interested in how Hurts would look against the Cardinals, and he looked great, and Carson looked like he was happy that the team was getting almost close to a victory as they did during that game. But it's also not surprising. Like any player, doesn't want to be the backup. They want to be the starter, and they're fighting to prove that they can be a starter and be a star in the league. So, I mean, maybe Wentz does think, what, maybe my time is ending in Philly and I could be a starter somewhere else because I know I have what it takes. And I'm sure he still loves Philly because, that fan base has been awesome to Wentz.
I mean, we don't get a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. You're an idiot if you think otherwise.
And I'm sure there is a good majority of the Philly fan base that does agree with you there. So, maybe he just sees that the writing on the wall is clear that it's coming to an end, and he still knows that he has what it takes. Good pop of your neck, by the way.
Oh my
gosh,
you could hear that? Wow.
And so did
sorry,
all the
audience
listeners.
members. Yeah, wow. But man, does my neck feel better.
Yeah, you look a lot looser there.
I feel looser. Go ahead, finish your thought.
But it just might be it just might be the sign of the times that Wentz needs to move on and go to somewhere else, and that he knows that he could be able to be a starter with any other team easily.
And it might just be what both him and the Eagles need with such the crazy controversy with Foles and everything that's happened. It might just be, hey, a reset time. But now going into the game and my team, so Hurts did play well. He did not play great to start. First couple drives, I did not like some of the stuff he's doing. The play calling was still kind of off and on. But here's the thing. Dougie P, this is what I'm upset about. And this is true. And I think if you are a fan of football or a fan of just the Eagles, either or, I think if you watch the last few games, if you've watched the whole season, you would agree with me. Doug Peterson completely changed the play calling for Jalen Hurts. He didn't do almost any of this for Carson Wentz. He's running the ball more. He's doing more quarterback rollouts. Just because Hurts is more athletic and mobile doesn't mean that Wentz isn't. Wentz has always been praised for his mobility, and he does well on rollouts. A few of the games we actually kind of played well with Wentz. He started calling those. I am upset at Doug because what he is doing, I think he switched to Hurts to save his job more than anything. Because he's suddenly calling plays, he's calling more runs and doing all this stuff where Hurts is making throws. I'm not taking anyway. Hurts is dialing up, following his reads, getting the ball out quick. That's not all Dougie. That is on Hurts. He looked good, and a lot of that's on Wentz for not doing that. But a lot of the play calling still is stuff that he just didn't transition for Wentz. He didn't make it easy. He's making it easy on his rookie because he's a rookie. He's not making it easy on Carson. And I do think Doug takes a good portion of the blame for what has happened this year and with Carson Wentz. And I am happy for Hurts. It's 2 games. I do not want to say trade Wentz immediately. I hope they fight in camp and then go off of Carson Wentz. And maybe that's not doable. I'm sure if Nick was here, he would say that's not doable. Wentz won't want it. Team wouldn't want it. They want to get him in for a full camp. I don't necessarily disagree with all that, but I want them to compete because even if Hurts balls out these last 3 games, look at what happened with Jimmy G. Jimmy G balled out for 4 games, won 4 straight. Well, he actually played okay stat-wise, but and then Jimmy G's been kind of average. I would rather them compete because I don't want them to move off of Wentz too fast to where we find out Hurts is just average or worse, and then Wentz goes and balls out somewhere else. I, as a fan, would like to see that because I just want the best quarterback playing. Right now, the best quarterback playing is Hurts. I'm glad I'm not in the position that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman and Dougie P, assuming those 2 stay, are in. I'm glad I'm not in that position. We secretly brought in, why can't I think of his name? He was the former Browns GM who drafted
John Dorsey?
Baker. John Dorsey is a consultant and now works for the Eagles in the scouting and GM offices. And a lot of people thought this was going to be a move where they'll fire Howie and move him in as GM. I like him as GM. I didn't really understand. I mean, he resigned from the Browns. I like him. I think he gets players. And I think he's a good, I thought that was a mistake by them to move off of him because I do think he understands players. But there's a lot that needs to be fixed. We're technically still not out of the playoff hunt, which is ridiculous. I'd rather get a high draft pick at this point. If we somehow sneak in, it just makes us all the more worse to me. Such an off and on season, but who knows? Suddenly we're kind of healthy, I guess. Alshon Jeffrey apparently does just absolutely hate Carson Wentz because he will play horrible for him, but then he'll be hurt all the time. But then the second it's a backup, all of a sudden Alshon Jeffrey comes out of nowhere and he's working hard. He's batting down passes that might be picks. Like, I'm so done with Alshon Jeffrey. I hate his character. I think he's just a terrible guy. If that even is remotely true, because suddenly he comes back and he's balling out and he's catching touchdowns and it's ridiculous. I'm just mad at the narrative. If moving off of Wentz is a big reset that we need, I'm okay with it. If they move off, what I want is them to compete in camp to see who is better. And if Wentz is saying, look, I'll stay if I'm the starter, and then, he really does earn it in camp, and we kind of go at this again to give Wentz another shot, I'm okay with that. If they move off of Wentz, I'm okay with it. I just want to do the best thing for the team. I think there's positive and negatives with every aspect of these scenarios I'm kind of throwing out. I think there are good and bad things with all of them. We're going to look very different next year. I think Zach Ertz is going to be gone. Alshon's going to be gone. Deshaun's going to be gone. A lot of these guys, and they need to be gone. I don't really want to move on from Ertz quite yet. And I think the offensive struggles this year have shown that Doug shouldn't move off of Zach Ertz, because when all of a sudden Ertz was hurt, he's like, no more 12 or double tight end, 12 personnel sets. We just need Wentz to throw. And it's like, no, we don't, Doug. We really don't. I found out a guy I work with is from the city. I can't remember the city, and worked at the school Doug worked at when he coached high school football. I was just talking to a buddy at work, and he was saying that to me, and he's like, man, I should give you his number so you can call Doug and ring him a new one. I was like, give me his number. He said his uncle is real close with Doug, and he said I should get Doug's number for you. And I was like, give me the number so I can just call the plays, because this is absurd. Like all of a sudden we're doing 80 rollouts with Jalen Hurts and everybody's praising his play, which is rightfully so. But it's like, man, why weren't we doing this with Carson Wentz? I'm mad at the narrative of the year, because I don't think Carson is blamed for all of the problems and Hurts is being praised for any of the small fixes. Like, this overwhelming praise, and I don't think that's fair. I think the entire offense is to blame. I think Howie and Doug are the big reasons to blame for the whole team. I mean, I saw this team going 11-5 to 10-6, and they're maybe going to win 5 games.
12-4.
It's absurd. It's absurd, and those two, the top of the pyramid deserves the blame more than anybody else. And we got a lot of young talent that I like. But we need to kind of change up some stuff. I'm very curious to see what the changes are going to be. And there's a part of me that is excited for the offseason, because in an offseason like this last year, it kind of just felt like, all right, we're finally healthy. Everything's set. We're good to go. And then it all fell apart when the season started. Now there's a lot that's going to change, and I'm kind of excited to see what those moves are going to be. But there needs to be some changes. The fact that we were the team coming back fully healthy, we had the same head coach, same quarterback, who played great last year. I mean, what Carson Wentz did last year was absurd. He did so well. And what Doug did, and Doug's like 11-2 with backup quarterbacks, which is absurd. It's absurd. It makes no sense. Like I said to our friend of the show, Zach, the other day, talking about, or maybe it was Caleb, other friend of the show, talking about Sam Darnold, and if they move off, when they move off of Sam Darnold and take Trevor Lawrence, I was like, what's going to happen is we're going to move off of Wentz, sign Sam Darnold to be our backup. Hurts will either get hurt or just not play great all of a sudden. Sam Darnold will come in, and all of a sudden we'll be winning games with Sam Darnold, and we're just going to repeat this quarterback BS every year after year after year. And I'm just over it. I miss the stability of the Andy Reid, like Donovan McNabb era, where it was just like, we're good. And it's just the little chess piece to see how good we can get when we finally get to the Super Bowl. We went 5 AFC championship games in a row. Like, I just miss those days. I didn't even really watch during those days, but I miss them. I miss them hard. But do you have any thoughts on my Eagles here?
Because you knew there was stability, so you're like, they'll be fine. I can miss a game.
They'll be fine.
Well, for me, to start with, I love Jalen Hurts now. I think he looked awesome out there. I do agree with you that you could tell that there was a difference with the play calling. I still thought some of the plays, I thought the plays still were questionable that Doug was calling, but you could tell that there was a difference where it was being, I guess, simplified to where Jalen could be able to play very well.
And
but even still, he exceeded
his reads easier. He really was. He was just following his reads, doing the short ball at times, which worked.
But even despite that, I still thought that he exceeded expectations from everyone. I mean, it's understandable why they're still wanting to have Jalen Hurts be the starter right now. But, it does lead into question on what to do with Wentz and Jalen Hurts. Do you still have them compete in this next offseason, or do you still try and trade away Wentz? Or I honestly think like releasing Wentz isn't out of the possibilities. I mean, people say with the money they wouldn't do that, but I mean, look at Todd. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, though. I mean, look at Todd Gurley. People didn't think the Rams would release him with that huge contract.
The cap hit is much bigger for us. Much bigger. I mean, it's like $50 million dead money that we can't use if we cut him. Mm-hmm. And in a COVID year, that you can't have that. I honestly think they might, if they can't find a trade partner and they decide Hurts is, if they say, hey, I'm not sure Hurts is really the guy long term. We really are not sure about this. We think it is Wentz. They might even just say, look, Hurts, you're the backup again. We put you in because we needed a spark. We're going to go with Wentz one more time and see what happens and see if they can kind of fix whatever his problems are. They need to bring in a legit offensive coordinator, and they need to get healthy and stop going with these old farts. But if I think we can trade him, and I think you can throw in a Zach Ertz and do a package deal to sweeten the pot. I saw an article today that said, hey, that had 4 trade possibilities for the Eagles. And one was sending him to the Colts for a 2nd-round pick. They've got the cap and it makes sense. Or New England for him and Ertz for Jared Stidham was the deal that they came up with. And I hate the idea of Jared Stidham. He's not good. And any New England fan that still thinks he is an idiot. He's not good. But it was for stability at backup quarterback. I'm not giving away Zach Ertz and Carson Wentz just for Jared Stidham. You've got to give me something. I'd rather have a 4th-round draft pick than Jared Stidham. Are you kidding me? He's not good. But a couple of those places, the Bears make sense, especially if Nagy. I mean, if they get into the playoffs, they probably won't trade for him. But there's a lot of possibilities. I'm so glad I'm not making the decision, because I do love both those guys, so it's hard to move off of them. But we didn't win this week, so whatever. We'll probably win the last 2 games. Hopefully, we play Dallas and the TBDs. So I don't know. But anything else, or should we move on to your Hawks? A little more positive note.
No, but I'll just continue with my thoughts too. Again, like I just don't think it'd be a complete shock if like the Eagles do announce that they are just releasing Wentz completely. Like it would really suck.
Sad.
And I understand that, but I don't think it's, very likely. I'm just saying if it happened, I wouldn't be rolled over shocked about it.
I'll be upset.
I don't know though. I mean, right now, Jalen Hurts looks really good. That offense is getting healthy, and it's looking like they're able to move the ball a lot better, being able to open up the plays a lot more. Maybe this is a good sign for the team heading into next offseason, but it is a bummer for Wentz though, because I do like him as a player, and I think he can be able to succeed in this league. But we'll have to see. Who knows? What Hurts could fall off a cliff. It's only 2 games, but so far it's exceeded my expectations anyway.
It has with mine too, but I mean, Ryan Leaf, his first 2 games, he played great. Sure. He's one of the biggest busts in history. Yeah. So I just want to see more, and I trust them, kind of. I don't trust Howie. I still trust Doug, even though the play calling needs help. But anyway, So your Hawks won 10 games. You clinched a playoff berth.
We did. I'm spoiled.
Not good.
I'm spoiled. Because
Oh, wow. You're
we're
finally saying that? Just
oh,
now?
I've known it. I've known it for
Been
a long
spoiled since you
time.
got Russ.
But no, that's exactly what it is. Like the Hawks fans, we have it so lucky. Like we're able to, do all these trades to get some good players. We have Russell Wilson, where we've been having winning records for, the past 9 seasons. And even still, we're able to find things to criticize about the Hawks. We're just so spoiled. It's ridiculous. I'm calling myself out for it, but it was nice to be able to know that we were able to clinch a playoff spot this early. It was cool seeing guys like Carlos Dunlap and Jamal Adams like getting fired up and being like, "This is exciting!" Like usually I'm planning my vacation at this point, but I'm going to the playoffs, and it's like, man, that's such a cool feeling, to see
good for
these
them.
players just so happy and they worked so hard and they're just awesome to have. But it was another game to where I just was able to see the vulnerabilities of our coaching staff. I mean, the first half, we looked pretty good. We were at halftime, it was 20-3. The offense was doing pretty well. Defense was able to hold that Washington football team's offense in check pretty well. But then the second half, like it was just kind of a tale of two stories to where our coaching staff just did not know how to make game time adjustments, did not know how to, move the ball as well as they should. And our defense was getting gas and was forgetting, how to play prevent defense, to where Dwayne Haskins was able to make almost a comeback to where our score was, 20-15. So, despite, us looking good in the first half, it's always to where other teams are able just to manage the game better than our coaching staff is. And it's just frustrating. And, as much as it's great to, be able to have a winning record and be able to clinch a playoff spot again, we just have a hard time believing in our coaching staff to where, yeah, we see this being a playoff team, but to get to a Super Bowl, we think that there's other coaching staffs to where they could be able to outplay us and be able to get to that Super Bowl and not us. So I hope that they realize this. I mean, it's hard to say, but at this continued rate, like I'm sure that we're still able to perform well up until the playoffs, but I won't be too shocked at all if coaching is the big cause for us not being able to go very far in the playoffs. But still, though, it is good that we're, winning still. And we are so spoiled and so lucky to have, Russ and have an organization that, gets the right talent to, take us to the next level and be an above average team. But, at the same time, though, you just have to call out and see those issues that you see on your team.
Does help having Russ. Do you think this is saved because you wanted some OCs and such to be fired? Do you think their job is safe now, or for sure safe since they clinched the playoffs again?
I think our defensive coordinator, Ken Norton, I think his job has been safe since a couple of weeks ago, to where he really turned our defense into one of the worst to one that's average, above average, has been playing a lot better whenever that switch was. I think his job is safe even in this moment, which bugs me because I still would rather have a new defensive coordinator. When it comes to Brian Schottenheimer, I don't think he was ever on the hot seat. It just because he was playing the type of offense and calling the type of offense that Pete Carroll usually wants. There's those rumors that Brian Schottenheimer might get a coaching job with the Texans. I think that's a bit silly, but if they want him, they can have him. But I don't see our coaching staff being on the hot seat at all. I hope that after this season, despite us winning, Pete Carroll realizes that these issues are happening and he needs to make a change within himself as a coach, but also with the coaching staff around him. But until then, I don't think anything's going to change with our staff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if your defense is, your defense is, I guess, starting to play better, but I mean, you were really struggling until that Giants game, and then you held the Giants to 17. Obviously, the Jets to 3, but they're not good. And then Washington to 15. But until then, everything else outside of that has been 20 or more points, including the Bills 44. So there's still some concern there, I think.
Oh, but even still, though, there's a couple of games before those that you mentioned to where, yeah, the scores seem a bit high, but just the style of play is just so much better to where we're able to, where we're not burning guys, to where we're not necessarily in complete shootouts.
I got to take your word for it because I haven't watched all the games. It is interesting how Russ went from the clear-cut MVP to just not.
It's crazy.
I mean, he is still going to throw 40-something touchdowns, probably close to he'll be somewhere between 45 and 50 most. Well, he's at 37 now. He's got 2 games left. So now he'll probably end between like, 42. Assuming he'll be around the early 40s. But I mean, he's still 13 picks. He's 2 off of the league high, which is my boy, my benched boy. But I mean, his yards are going to be over 4,000. I mean, it's a solid season. Those picks, those turnovers are not great for him.
No.
But I mean, good for you guys. Be rolling. It is nice having such a great quarterback like Russ. And getting lucky with those receivers. You got to figure out that run game, though. Got to figure out that run game.
Yeah,
not good. It's not good.
It could be better, but I think
could be. I don't even know who your running backs are anymore.
Well, it's
Penny even healthy.
Chris Carson.
Oh, he's still playing? I thought he got hurt.
He came back.
Just
he was resting.
Week?
He was napping. Yeah, he played.
Oh, okay. Well, still, you got to figure out that run game. You think you're going to re-sign Chris Carson? Isn't he a free agent this year?
He will be a free agent after this year. I won't be shocked, to be honest. I won't be shocked at all if we re-sign him. I don't think I really want that. I think I'd rather our money go to some other guys, and I think we could be able to find a running back who's okay, who's decent, but I don't know. The Seahawks are a weird organization. I won't be shocked at all if they re-sign Carson.
All right, so why don't we just go with our transition here? Why don't we just do our should we do surprises or over under? I say we get rid of one this week. Which one do you want to do? Short week, call it a short ep.
You want to talk surprises? Did anything surprise you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what surprised me. The Jets winning a game against the Rams. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I had them locked in for them Rams to win. Are you kidding me right now? They won 23-20. Does this save Adam Gase's job? Does it?
God, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
I mean, I knew at some point they were going to win a game. It's so yes, because most teams, 2 teams ever have gone 0-16. Like it just doesn't happen. Eventually, lightning strikes. A team doesn't play great. They get cocky. The Rams kind of had that feel. I mean, the Rams are 9-5. You're leading the division now, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to play the Rams next, and that'll be like the division title game.
Well, yeah, if you beat them, you'll have 2 games up on them, including the tiebreaker. So that's huge.
Important.
But if they beat you, you're tied, and they have the tiebreaker. So that'll be a fun game. That might get flexed into a prime time, if it's not already. I don't know. But
it's an afternoon game.
And they might get flexed. I don't know what that night game is, but yeah, the Jets winning 23-20 is just absurd. I mean, Sam Darnold threw 207 yards and a touchdown. Frank Gore had 59 yards. Frank Gore being in the league, good for him, getting another teeter. Look at that.
He's just doing his thing.
Just a machine. Adam Gase just won't let him go. But anyway, what's your surprise? That's my surprise.
I mean, that and the Bengals.
Yeah, they beat the Steelers. What is happening? This is crunch time in December. You need to be winning to get 1 seeds, and these guys are all screwing up.
I know, and I might have overstepped the praise that I was giving the Steelers, so I might have to back that off because they've lost like 3 in a row, and against the Bengals, against a backup, like it's a backup everything almost, backup running back, backup quarterback. It's just I don't know. It's the Steelers need to figure out whatever's going on with them, and it's just so weird when these types of games happen. But I guess you're right though. Like lightning strikes, somehow a team is able to overcome the odds to be able to beat a more dominant team. I'm sure the Steelers will be fine, but at the same time though, they might need to get something to check because clearly they're having more issues than we all realize.
They should move your game to Monday Night Football because the Bills-Patriots is going to be a blowout. Bills are going to stomp them. How great is it that New England missed the playoffs and they're horrible?
Oh, it was weird.
It's awesome. I love it.
In our lifetime, we've only known the Patriots to ever be good. Like it's always every year, the Patriots are the top team. And then, I don't know, maybe the Colts one year, maybe the Broncos the next year. But now we're actually seeing an AFC division or AFC conference where it's more almost every team is just so competitive. And then the Steelers are way down at the bottom.
You mean the Patriots?
I'm still thinking about the stupid Steelers game.
I love that they're bad. I love that they're 6-8 right now, and they'll most likely go 7-9 or 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
Make them average. Make them never get an elite player. They always get just okay first round guys. Like, I just keep them there forever. I hope if we do trade Wentz, I do not hope he goes. I really hope he does not go there. I do not want to see Bill Belichick fix him.
And you know what's stupid? Like I have this weird itch that next season the Patriots are going to be back. Maybe not to full dominant force, but they'll be like a playoff contender.
I mean, they're technically contenders, I guess. They're 8-8. Like, they're just kind of close. I mean, record-wise, they're not too far out. They needed to change a couple games up, but I'm just glad that they're not great. I like that the league feels more spread out, more fun outside of my team. But
totally.
So anything else real quick, or should we just wrap this Christmas up early?
Nah, let's go home for the holidays. I'm ready to get out of here. This was a good ep.
Yep, I agree. Guys, we hope you have a Merry Christmas. For the Get Back guys, Kyle and Al, we are out. We will see you next week, right before the new year. So remember to do all that great stuff, like, subscribe, share. Follow me on Twitter at Movie Meal Al. Follow us on Twitter at the Get Back guys. Instagram, same. All that awesome stuff. Anything I'm missing? Nope. All right. For the Get Back guys, go Birds, I guess. Crazy crap going on, but whatever. Go Heat!
Happy holidays.
Audio Jungle.